quarantine, what can you do to keep yourself sane? Whoa. I'm 5 months in. I have been literally out of my house less than probably 5 times since March the 9th. Other than that, I've stayed in. This is a choice. I've told you this is a choice that I've made along with Jim. Because of our age and being in such a vulnerable age group, we've decided that I'm staying in. He plays golf first thing every morning, and they're the first out, and that makes it very safe for him. He goes to the grocery store on his way home. I haven't been in a grocery store since March the 9th. I've done curbside pickup twice, Ulta and Michael's. I drove out to get our Walmart order, but of course didn't get out of the car, didn't come in contact with anyone, curbside. And we've just been out riding in the car a couple of times, but that's really it. So what have I done to keep myself busy and to keep myself sane? Because trust me, even though I was single for 35 plus years before I met Jim, I was used to being alone. I was used to being by myself. I was used to entertaining myself. And this is considering everything, this has been very easy for me, but I have done a lot of things to keep me occupied, and that's what I want to share with you today. What I've done to keep myself occupied during this first 5 months, because we're probably looking at this, for those of us who are serious about staying in, we're probably looking at another 5 or 6 months at the minimum. I think, for me personally, and by the way, if you're aging, if you're an older adult, and you're concerned about this aging process, and especially now about being in this vulnerable age group for the virus, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell notification, because for the most part, we're a group of like-minded people helping each other through this. And that would probably be the first thing that I've relied on to help me through this 5 months so far, is my YouTube family. What would we do without each other? I don't know. It's like I know that I can grab my computer or my tablet or my phone and go to YouTube, and I'm going to see familiar faces and hear familiar voices. So YouTube has been a huge, huge help for me. I've taken you on some of my walks, so I'm walking, and I also exercise, do some mild stretches and resistance strength type training, but just moving for a small portion of every single day. That has definitely helped me. My arts and crafts, if you could see my dining room table right now, I would not even show it to you, because I do not have a studio here. I've pulled everything I own practically out onto the dining room table, and I will sit over there and do crafts and not do anything that I'm going to do anything with, but just play around with drawing, with I've been working here lately with some air-dried clay that I had in my stash. I've been making gift cards. And let me tell you about these gift cards that I'm making. I decided, because I had everything I needed, that I would make for stocking stuffers for the girls, my girls as I call them, my daughter and all of my daughter-in-laws and granddaughter, 5 of them all together. I decided that, and I do this every year, but I made them something handmade. And I decided this year, since I truly had the time, to make them note cards. And you're probably watching a little video right now of those note cards. I had these card blanks. They came from Hobby Lobby. I used my 40% discount on them. They probably cost $5 or $6 with my discount for the package. They weren't expensive otherwise, and I believe there's maybe either 15, 20, something like that, note cards and envelopes, and they're not expensive paper. They're the Hobby Lobby brand, but there's something that I can work with. And I also had some watercolor pencils, and they're just the Hobby Lobby brand. They were very inexpensive. That was pretty much all I needed. I think I used some kind of a little fine tip pen to do a little bit of doodling with too. And that's what I did with these. I do what I call doodle flowers, and you'll see that I just draw little circles. I draw an odd number of circles for the flower itself. I draw them with the watercolor pencil, and then I fill them in, just coloring them in. Then I draw the stems and the leaves on the card and on the front of the envelope. And then I take that fine marker, the pen, and I just sort of, not precise, but I just outline all of my doodle flowers and squiggle in the center. And then, as always, I sign my name to everything I do. So I sign my name, and then I decide to do a little splatter on the front of the envelope and on the front of the card. And they're ready to package up. A little sticker you see that I'm putting on the cellophane those came from the Dollar Tree. The saying that I put on the back of the cellophane package, those came, I think originally I bought some at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Joann's a long time ago, but I was running out and I ordered off of Amazon another little book of those, and there's just tons of sayings, and you get either the black background or the white background, and I'll link everything I can below if you think this is something that you would like to do. And then I'm telling you, this couldn't be any easier. Making these little doodle flowers is so easy. If you can draw an odd shaped circle, you can make doodle flowers. And it's such an inexpensive gift to make. I decided on the note cards because I sort of feel like from time to time we all need a note card, just a generic one that maybe we can write as a thank you note, or even a sympathy note, or just a I love you, I miss you note. But we just need some notes that we can use for pretty much anything. So what I did with this is I'm giving each of my girls 5. So I had to make 25 of them, and I'm pretty much finished with them. I think I may have 5 more to make and I'll be through. But as you can see from what I'm doing, it happens real fast. You can make a card in probably 5 or 6 minutes if you just sit down and get after it. Especially after you've made a few, you get into a rhythm. And easy. They're easy. I used a water brush. If you're not familiar with that, you just fill the handle of the brush up with water, but you don't have to have that. You can use just any little brush to do this that you might have with, again, just some very inexpensive watercolors. Or with the watercolor pencils, you do not even have to have anything other than just some kind of a little brush and water. Those have been a lot of fun, and it's kept me busy. I don't have any finished yet that I can show you, but I'm working on some air dry clay ring dishes. And I'll share those with you too when I get one made. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to finish this shawl. Okay, I bought the yarn and started this just before we took the cruise in February, and late February, early March. And I knitted on the cruise, brought it home. My intention was to have it finished so that I could wear it for the springtime when you go out into restaurants and different places and you might get a little chilly. This is something that you can just throw in your purse and have with you. Well, you can sort of see where I am. I probably have about, I would say 5 or 6 more inches to knit on this, and then I'm going to put fringe on each end. This is the easiest knitting you can do. It's just knit every row. For those of you who knit, I can't remember how many stitches I put on this. I wanted it deep this way. So it may be 100 stitches or so. I made the pattern up as I went. And the only thing I did different, for those of you who knit, again, I slipped the first stitch of every row. So that makes that little bump, sort of almost like a little scallop along the edge. And this is really, it's a variegated yarn. And has a little silver thread in it. I mean, I can finish this, but I'm not going anywhere to wear it. It's really for spring or summer, I would say, or maybe a cruise, but no. I have plenty of time to finish it before I'll be able to wear it again, but I'm still working on that. Trust me when I tell you that I've gone for weeks without picking that up, and when I do pick it up, I only knit for a few minutes. I could have easily finished it by now. Like all of us, I've done projects around the house. I've done projects until I'm tired of doing projects. I still have a lot I could do, but I'm probably not going to do it. I think probably something that has made this as easy as it's been for me is that we FaceTime with our kids and grandkids a lot, at least once a week, sometimes more often. And that has been such a help, such a huge help to be able to FaceTime with them. You know, we could pick the phone up and call them, but it's so much better to see them face to face. And the 2 little ones are toddlers. I mean, the little boy he's only not even 2 years old, but yet, if nothing else, we can watch them play in the backyard. And they have a ball. And every once in a while, they'll run up to the patio where Mom or Dad is sitting, and they'll smile and talk to us, or look embarrassed. You know how they do this. I don't want to talk, but we get to see them playing. We can FaceTime our friends. Do you FaceTime your friends? Or Zoom or Skype if you don't have FaceTime? Why would you just talk on the phone when you can actually see those people face to face? It's almost like them being in the room with you. That's been a huge help. I'll show you something else I've been making craft-wise. These are little notepads. I had these. I bought them at the Dollar Tree, and they're just plain pads. And I had some decorative papers. They were cardboard backed, just a little thin top. And I just found in my stash of craft stuff some decorative papers. And I just cut it to fit the top. You can glue them on or double-sided tape works great with these, and then I put a little border, and I'll probably put one of those little sayings across the front of it, maybe decorate it, but these are going in the stockings for the girls too. I do the girls, Jim does the boys. We have 3 boys, 2 sons and a grandson. So Jim takes care of the boys' little stuff. I take care of the girls. So I mean, this is too simple for me to even show you really, because it's just covering the top of this little $1 notepad from the Dollar Tree. All right, this is funny. Some of you may know this. I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before, but Jim and I, when all of this started, we started playing gin rummy. And we have played gin rummy almost every single day since we started staying in on March the 10th. Sometimes we may only play 1 game. Sometimes we may play 3 or 4 games. We sit out on our front porch when it's cool. We've got fans out on the porch, and we just sit and play cards. And neighbors will walk by walking their dogs, and that gives us a chance to say hi and have a little small talk and social distance. But we've played cards almost every single day. I will tell you that Jim lets me win often enough to keep me interested, to keep me playing. We started out with a brand new set of cards, and we were complaining because they were so new. They were hard to shuffle. They were hard to deal. They were stiff. I wish you could see that deck of cards. They are almost threadbare. They're slick. They're dirty. They're flimsy. But we're still playing with them. And I guess we'll play until they disintegrate, and we'll find us a new pair. If you don't have someone to play with, you can play solitaire. This is a little bit political, but yet it's not political. But regardless of your political persuasion, we have an election coming up. And if there are issues that are near and dear to your heart, obviously you're not going to be out knocking on doors for your favorite candidate. But what you can do is you can make phone calls. And yes, you can call your friends and your family and maybe your neighbors, but you can also call your representatives. If there are issues that you really and truly care about that could affect your life, that are important to you and your family, make phone calls. I can remember when I was first approached many years ago about calling my representatives in Washington or in our state capitals. I can't do that. I know what I'd like to say, but I'm afraid I would get tongue-tied. I'm a little bit shy. I just don't think I can do that. Well, here's the deal. For the most part, you're going to get an answering machine. You're going to get a recording, and you can have what you want to say written down. And just let your representative know how you feel on issues. And go all the way to the top. Leave recordings. They listen. They may not listen, but they have people listening. They have people making notes. They have people letting them know what types of calls are coming in. You can't say you don't have time. Go ahead and again, make your phone calls regardless of your political persuasion. Make your phone calls. Let those people who represent us, when it comes to making laws, it does do good. It does do some good. the next thing, and we're almost finished, but the next thing I want to tell you that you can do, probably a lot of videos that you've watched, and this is not one of them. This is not sponsored. They don't know who I am. But there is a website called Skillshare, and I was doing Skillshare long before I ever saw them sponsor a video here on YouTube. But Skillshare is an online learning site where you can, I mean, they have so many different things you can learn, from arts and crafts to writing stories to filming to storytelling to baking cakes to everything you can imagine. You can take little courses on Skillshare. And I think they have some that are free, but they also have a subscription where you can pay by the month or by the year and have unlimited access to the site. So just, I don't care how old we are, we can still learn new things. We can learn new things. Just go on there and look and see everything that's offered. I'll just give a link to the website. It's Skillshare.com, but I'll give that down in the description bar. And go on there and look. It's never too late. I don't care. I mean, at 77, it's never too late to learn new things. Plus, there are thousands, if not more, of YouTube videos on everything you can imagine that you might want more information on or how to do. Thousands of videos right here on YouTube, free, totally free. Oh wow, what a resource we have right here. If you're like me, you're probably watching too, a lot of TV, a lot of movies. I watched a movie about, well, it was back in 2011. It was a documentary, and it was called I Am, and it was done by the man who directed Ace Ventura and several other movies. Evidently very, very popular. He was had a bicycle accident and had some pretty major injuries, and they were serious enough that he felt like his life was threatened by it, that he might not survive it. But all of that time that he was recuperating, he started thinking about this subject, and when he was ready, he made this documentary, and it's called I Am. And it's here on YouTube. The other day, it popped up in my feed. And I went, oh, well, I've seen that. And I thought, I think I'll watch it again. It's a long documentary, probably an hour and a half. You can either rent it here on YouTube or you can purchase it. I rented it, I believe it was $2.99. And I had 48 hours to finish watching it. So what I did is I rented it, and then I watched it in little bits and pieces. I was sort of up and down all that day, but when I would sit down, I would watch maybe 10 or 15 minutes of it, put it on pause, and come back later and watch a little more. I finished it the second day before my 48 hours ran out. I highly encourage it. It goes in so many different directions, but it really talks about changes in our world and how they happened and why they've happened over all these years. It is fascinating, just fascinating. It kept my attention. Something that I had never thought about is the fact that every major change in society from all way back came about because one person, then another person, then another person, and then you have a group. And they start the ball rolling to create a change in society. I think what touched me so much about seeing this documentary again is because with this pandemic and everything that's going on in the world and in our country, we're beginning to see a shift, a change. And it's happening right before our eyes. And in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years down the road, somebody will be telling a story, or maybe another documentary, and they'll be talking about this shift that we are experiencing right now. Of course, when this documentary was made in, I think maybe 2010, whoever thought we would be where we are today? The documentary is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I can't recommend it enough. To close this today, here's what you need to know about me. And I hope if you're sitting in your home, maybe wringing your hands, going, what am I going to do? Repeat after me. I've got this. I've got this. I've got it. Do you have it? You do. We've got this. We're in this together. We're in this together. We've got this. We can do it. 6 more months. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. The worst is behind us. We've got it. It's about our mindset. As Jim and I talked about from the beginning, it's about pros and cons. You have to look at the pros of making this decision to stay home or wear a mask when you go out or not. What are the benefits to you and to others? What are the cons to you and to others? If we don't help, what are the benefits to me if I choose to stay in, or if I have to go out, I choose to wear a mask? What are the benefits? What are the pros of that? I don't have to tell you. It's protecting me, it's protecting you, so that we can get through this faster. What are the cons? Well, the cons are that I could be contagious and not know it, and give it to someone who would give it to someone who would give it to someone. And this could go on and on and on. It's something that we're certainly going to be able to tell our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and our great-great-grandchildren and on and on and on for generations. I want mine to know that I was a part. Whether I believe this is a hoax or not, I'm not willing to take that chance. Number one, because of my age. And number two, I couldn't sleep with myself at night. Oh my gosh, what if it really is real and I've given it to someone who gave it to their elderly parent and they died? Or I infected a whole group of people not knowing that I had it. I couldn't sleep at night. It's called doing the right thing. And the thing is, from what everybody tells us, if we all do the right thing, we can stop this. We can stop it dead in its tracks. I mean, they're saying that it's probably not ever going to go away completely, but at least the more we work at it, the quicker it's going to be over, and the sooner we can get on to whatever is going to be our normal lives again. What I would like to ask you to do is, I bet if you've been at home, you have found lots of things to keep you busy too. Little projects, little arts and crafts, whatever. Why don't you leave it in the comment section below? What are you doing to occupy your time? Are you reading? Just watching a lot more TV? What are you doing? Are you canning all of the wonderful fruits and vegetables that are out there right now? What are you doing? Leave a comment. Maybe you'll give the rest of us some good ideas too. As always, don't forget to go out and be kind. Know that I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.